Didn't do it with Jeff Lewis, didn't do it with Sai. I don't need grown-ass women yelling at me at the floor room. I've come very far in my life to
and I wasn't
like that.
yelling at you.
This isn't like Staten Island.
Don't call me Staten Island, okay? I'm a born and raised city person, so please, let's not
Okay, city person.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of New York, Season 15, Episode 2. And before we get into it, let me start off by saying Miss JennaLyons said, broke where? She said, budget, what's that? I don't know her. Honey, that new Bentley told me everything that I need to know. And I said, okay, come through. Brynn, I have some choice words for you, Miss Mamas. I want you to sit back and relax because your actions have me a bit puzzled. And I'm getting a bit tired of you always stirring the pot, and we're only 2 episodes in. But that conversation between you and Erin had me a bit confused, and I have to give you a whacking because, Miss Mamas, you tried it with that poor hosting. Y'all know how I am about being a proper host when you have people over your home. And Miss Brynn, I am going to be reading you about that because, again, girl, you had Erin walk up 5 flights of steps for you to be a poor hostess. No, ma'am. But again, we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. Now, Miss Raquel, I'm not going to hold you, but I forgot that you were on the cast. Had you not gotten that 30-second scene with you at home? But 2nd episode in, it was all right. And without further ado, let's just jump right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up this episode with Erin and her mom Dorothy at a wig shop. Now we all remember that last week, Erin shared that her mom was diagnosed with breast cancer and she's in her 3rd week of chemo. So I thought it was super touching because we see that 2 hours prior, Erin had gotten her hair cut to match her mom's length. So she says that she wants to support her mom in any way that she can, and she plans on buying a wig too. And hold on, Erin, because that wig that you had on in your confessional, I said, oh girl, you did that. That was stunning. I like that length on you, the waves. I said, oh, come through, sis. I loved it. But I think it's really sweet that Erin wants to just support her mom fully. And again, my heart goes out to Erin and her mom. And also, Erin, my condolences, because one of y'all told me in the comments in last week's recap that Erin's father passed away. And when I went on her page, I read her post, and yeah, her father passed away a few days before the premiere episode. And again, Erin, my heart goes out to you. I'm sending you and your family my thoughts and prayers. I know what that's like firsthand, and I'm praying for you and your family. So we see Ubah arrive to join them, and you can tell that her and Erin are super close. And we even find out that when Erin learned the news of her mom's breast cancer, Ubah was the first person that she called. So anyhow, as Erin's mom is with the wig stylist, we now see Erin and Ubah go off to the side to chat about the current state of affairs in the group. So Ubah brings up Brynn's party and she wants to know, how does Erin feel after that night? So Erin says that she woke up this morning feeling hurt because she feels like Brynn tried to get in between her and Jenna's friendship. Then she goes on to say that Brynn knows that she needs her friends right now because she's going through a lot with her mom. And Erin, I understand that you're upset. Brynn is messy, but let this be a lesson to keep your mouth shut and not tell Brynn certain things. I think that your best bet is to talk to whoever you're upset with directly. Anytime you talk about somebody to the group, it always ends up poorly. If you were that annoyed about Jenna not paying you back that $250, you should have called Jenna up directly. And when you and Abe revealed the truth later on in this episode, I understood more why you were so upset about Jenna not paying you back that $250. But again, we'll talk more about that later. So now Ubah starts asking Erin if she feels like Brynn is the cause of the damage between her and Jenna. And Erin says, yeah, the last 6 months between me and Jenna have been awkward and things are still weird. So now we cut to Erin's confessional and she says that this whole thing about Jenna having money problems is nothing that the whole group didn't know because on their cast trip to Anguilla, Jenna revealed to all of them that there were times in her life where money was a bit funny. Now, Erin, I don't like when the housewives play this game of semantics Because you saying that, well, Jenna did say that there were times in her life where money was funny. What's the timeline? Did Jenna say that money was funny in the last 5 years, in the last 2 years? Was this 20 years ago? Was this 15 years ago? Was this after she stepped down as CEO of J. Crew? Like, when exactly was this financial drought? If I'm being honest, Erin, I think that you did say something to the effect of, oh, does she have money problems? Because why couldn't she pay me back my $250? The way you said in your confessional in the last episode that you were annoyed to pay for that Uber ride and not get that money back told me that you were irritated and you probably did shade Jenna behind her back about it. And I'm not saying that you can't be annoyed about that, but what I am saying is, if you did shade Jenna about does she have money issues, just own it. So Erin continues on and says that because Jenna revealed that to them, that was probably in the back of her mind when she told Brynn that she had to pay for Jenna's Uber. Bottom line, if you felt a way about Jenna not paying you back, you should have called her up directly and not talked to other people about it. So now they get on the topic of Erin and Abe's marriage. So immediately Erin starts crying and she says that she needed Abe right now, especially with all that she's going through with her mom being diagnosed with breast cancer. So Erin is still being vague about what exactly their issues are. And at first I said, now Erin, we went through a whole season of Beverly Hills with Kyle Richards being vague about what led to her and Mauricio's divorce. We're not going to sit up here and watch you do the same thing. And no shade, but this New York reboot is not as popular as Beverly Hills, so you don't really get that privilege of being vague about your storyline when you're only 2 seasons in. And again, it's no shade, it's just a fact. And even Ubah's confused. She says that she's here for Erin if Erin needs her, but she can't give advice if she doesn't know the whole story. So Erin fills us in a little bit and she says that there were some decisions that Abe made without discussing with her and it felt like a betrayal. So immediately after she said that, my mind went to, it has to be financial issues. Because if it were cheating, she would have used different language. So now we jump over to Sai and Jenna, and they're meeting up for some coffee, conversation, maybe some lunch, but I didn't see any food on the table, so I don't know. But Sai starts off the conversation by saying that she really does like Jenna. Then she continues on by saying that she's in a great place right now, and she's not trying to go back to being the angry girl like last year. Now, one thing about Miss Sai really let those comments and the backlash get to her because the way she's trying to pull a complete 180 this season. But Sai, we get it. It's okay. Just try to be authentic with it. I think that now Sai has gone to another extreme. She just seems way too aware of the cameras. But I feel like that's the majority of this cast. I think that's the biggest reason why this reboot isn't gelling the way it should, because everybody is so paranoid about what the viewers are going to say and it's too much. Just let things flow naturally and you guys will be okay. So now Sai brings up her outburst at Brynn's party the other night and she says, I had no intention of losing my cool that night, but it just came out when you told me that she told you that I said that I hated her because I didn't say that. Now, did anybody else scream when Jenna interjected? And she said, well, she wasn't the only one who told me that. Like, I heard that before. So Sai continues on by saying that it really hurts her because her and Brynn were super close. And she even reached out to Brynn during the holidays because she knows how hard the holiday time is for her. And Brynn did not reach back out. So now Sai says that she's being vulnerable and she just feels like it's not fair that Brynn won't meet her halfway. So now Sai brings up the group text that she sent out where she apologized to everybody for losing her cool. And then she sent Brynn a separate text apologizing and Brynn left her on red. So she says that leaving somebody on red is the ultimate disrespect. And I said, now, Sai, personally, if you screw up and you apologize and you took ownership, the ball is officially in the other person's court on how they react or how they respond. So now it's time for you to leave it alone and stop reaching out to Brynn. Simple as that. because I don't think that you should keep begging somebody when they're letting you know that they don't want to talk to you. And also, Sai, you can't really say that being left on red is the ultimate disrespect when you curse somebody out at their own party. So you guys are both even. And if we're being honest, I felt like you did the most at the party in the premiere episode, because Brynn and Erin were going at it. Then all of a sudden you jump in to defend Erin and then get on Brynn. It was like, girl, you weren't even in this fight in the first place. So this whole thing could have been avoided. So you can't really be upset if she's paying you dust via text message. So now Sai starts whining about how she gets so much crap for being mean, but Brynn is mean too. Brynn just does it off camera. Now, Sai, let's not play victim, because all last season, you were completely insufferable. Period. End of story. You have nobody to blame but yourself. The way you were dragging Jessel and Pavin all last season, insinuating that he was going to Vietnam to cheat on her, you deserve the dragging. So now Sai brings up how when Brynn gets angry, she curses you out via email, and then on top of that, she likes to threaten people, and that's not okay. Now, I don't claim to be anybody's fighter, but if Brynn threatened me, I wouldn't feel any way about it. I would laugh, because I'm pretty sure that Brynn is nobody's fighter either. So I don't know why anybody would even take one of her threats seriously. I remember at last year's reunion when she made that comment to Ubah saying that, trying to insinuate that if you mess with her, bodies drop. I forgot the phrase that she used, but I said, girl, can you stop? Please, you are not about that life. Nobody on this cast is about that life. So enough. But I laughed when she said that then, and hearing that she threatened this group recently through email talking about she's carbon monoxide. I said, okay. I could see if we were on a different cast where they actually throw hands, but yeah, this cast and Brynn, if somebody threatened me on this cast, I would literally laugh in their face. So now we close out the scene with Jenna saying, in all seriousness, Sai, the only way to get through to Brynn is through softness and kindness. So Sai claps back and she says, well, why should I be kind and soft to somebody who's being so mean to me? So Jenna said, well, I'm sitting here being soft to you when you were mean to me all last year. And Sai was like, well, that's because I thought you were lying. So they both laughed. And I said, Jenna, that's an excellent point, because all throughout last season, you were so sweet to Sai and Erin, despite them twisting up your words, giving you the hardest time in Anguilla. Sai was being just so nasty for no reason. So Sai, if Jenna can still be a friend to you despite all the BS that you brought to her door last year, I'm sure that you and Brynn can work it out. This short scene with Raquel at home with her kids and her fiance Mel, I have nothing to say. Great gowns, beautiful gowns, that's all I got. The scene was boring. They could have kept that and given us something else that was more entertaining. Again, Raquel, I'm going to give you until episode 5 before I make my final assessment. But hopefully, Lord willing, by episode 3, you actually give us something. I need for these newbies to come in like a Jen on OC, or a Bronwyn on SLC, or a Stacy from Potomac. I expect a lot from our new Housewives. I don't like all these flop scenes and the storylines are looking like, girl, where is it? You know what I'm saying? So Raquel, I'm going to give you 3 more episodes to get it right. So now we jump on over to Brynn. She's in her apartment, and you can tell that her mood is a bit off. We see her get up, and she takes out a nice bottle of Evian water, and then she puts it down and says, no, I'm going to give her some tap water. So immediately we know that the guest in question is going to be served New York's finest tap water and not the bottled water. Now, our tap water in New York is some of the best tap water. It's phenomenal. But I feel like when you have a guest over, that's unacceptable in my opinion. I always have bottled waters, wine, juice, sodas, I have a full spread for beverages alone. I'm not serving my guests tap water. Despite New York Tap being great, I'm not doing that. So now we cut to Erin walking up all 5 flights of steps, and the way she was so winded. So Erin arrives and Brynn doesn't even open up the door to greet her. She's on the couch. She's like, oh, hey, like, you know, how are you? Your tap water's right there on the counter. I said, girl, what? Is this how you greet your guests? So Brynn, let me just whack you quickly. Because if you invite somebody over to your home, you need to have some food and some beverages for them. I don't care if you guys are going to be talking about something heavy or serious. You don't have your guests in your home thirsty and hungry. That's a complete no-no. And for you to act like you're this socialite with so much class, sorry. And if I were Erin, I would have turned back around and I would have went back home, because how dare you invite me to your home and you don't have a spread for us? No, ma'am. You guys could have gone out and had lunch at a restaurant for this. But don't have anybody at your house and you don't have a nice charcuterie tray or beverages. You need to have both, but you know what I'm saying. But the fact that Brynn didn't even have a bowl of chips out, I said, girl, what is this? And then the fact that Erin had to walk up 5 flights of steps and couldn't even get a morsel to eat and had to drink tap water, not even bottled water. No, ma'am. One thing about me, if you ever come over to my home, you will be fed. You will never have to worry about saying that you left my home hungry. I'm gonna order some good food too, because I like to order. So you're gonna have some good food, order some Italian food, charcuterie trays right there, some champagne, Prosecco, I have tequila, I have vodka, I have all of it. So fully stocked bar cart. Like, don't play with me. I know how to entertain. But let me get off of that because that really pissed me off and I could stay on that forever. But Brynn, you played. But Brynn's whole demeanor is super dry. And I said, girl, why invite somebody to your house to be dry to them? So now Erin joins Brynn on her couch and she says, first things first, I want to talk about the other night. I've been super overwhelmed, stressed. It's a lot going on in my life right now, and I actually forgot what I said to you. So Brynn's like, oh, really? You forgot? Should I remind you? And again, Brynn is super short, very dry, very condescending. She's not here for it. So Erin's getting flustered, and she says, Brynn, I'm trying to apologize to you. And now Brynn cuts her off and says, oh, really? Is this an apology? And Erin's like, yeah, I'm trying to apologize, but you're being so condescending. If you're going to be condescending to me and you invite me into your home, you better have some food, because I'll be damned if you're talking to me crazy and I'm sitting up there with my throat dry because I can't get a drink and my stomach is grumbling. So I would have walked right out. So now Brynn interjects and says that Erin and Sai both came in hot. And Erin's like, look, girl, when it comes to you and Sai, I have nothing to do with that. I had no idea that Sai was going to jump into our argument in the first place, but she did. But that's not on me, so let's focus on you and I. So now Erin says that she's an authentic person and people get heated and she can't mask herself. So as they're still going back and forth, Erin brings up the Jeff Lewis podcast when she went on. So she says, I want to clear things up. I should have stopped it. I'm sorry. Now, when they played the tapes back again, we clearly see that Erin did not say anything disparaging about Brynn having a sugar daddy. And Brynn, you don't have a leg to stand on, in my humble opinion, because Jeff Lewis was the one who said, oh, I think that she is getting help from men. Erin literally said, I don't think so. I've always known Brynn to have a job and work. She was defending you. And Erin, when you said, oh, well, I should have stopped it, how can you stop it? We all know that Jeff Lewis is messy as hell. That man cannot be controlled, and he's going to say what he wants to say. Also, it's his show. So how could you stop him from saying whatever he wanted to say? I don't believe that you should have apologized for that. You didn't do anything wrong. Brynn wants to make a moment because she wants a storyline, but Brynn, you know good and damn well that Erin did not say anything bad about you. And also, Brynn, you shaded people about their money. Let's not act like you weren't being shady about Erin's home in the Hamptons. You were like, oh, I mean, it's in Sag Harbor. I mean, that's cute, but I prefer Southampton or Bridgehampton. That's what you said. And I remember saying to you in my recaps last season, I said, well, girl, where's your Hamptons home? You don't have one in Southampton, Bridgehampton, East Hampton, Amagansett, Sagaponack. Again, girl, I'll wait. And one more thing. Brynn, you've come on with this persona that you are this sex symbol, you're a femme fatale, you're that girl, you have your way with men, and that's fine. That's lovely. I live for that energy. I love that. You can't have it both ways where now you're upset that people are actually wondering if you do have a sugar daddy or 2 or 3 because of your persona that you've crafted. Honestly and truthfully, in 2024, having a sugar daddy is so common. I'm like, girl, who cares? You're making a big deal out of nothing. And I'm just surprised because for somebody who talks about sex so freely, you flirt so freely with everybody that you come across, it's a bit jarring and confusing to see you now be upset because somebody joked about you having a sugar daddy. What are we doing? I honestly felt like Brynn was not trying to hear anything that Erin had to say, because then she goes on to say that they were acting like they were in Staten Island. And now you have Erin talking about, oh my gosh, please don't say that. I'm a born and raised city person. I said, oh my gosh. Erin, girl, you're going to tell us every single episode that you're from the city. Girl, we get it. Flex, girl, stunt on us. Let us know every single day that you are from the city, honey. You're not from Brooklyn. You're not from Queens. You're not from Staten Island. You're not from the Bronx. Girl, you are from Manhattan, honey. But it's every single episode. So now Erin starts getting emotional and she pleads for Brynn to accept her apology. And she says, again, I'm sorry. So now we have Brynn with the fake tears and she says, it's just very embarrassing for me and people still ask me about it. I said, Brynn, you make sex jokes all the time. You play into this persona. Now all of a sudden you're so embarrassed. Again, I don't care if somebody said that I had 3 sugar daddies. Where are they at? Let me know. I would not be offended by that. And with inflation being as high as it is and rent and mortgages skyrocketing, girl. So now here's where I was a bit confused. And I love how we all help each other out. If I'm confused about something, y'all let me know down in the comments if you were able to pick up what they were putting down. All right. So Brynn apologizes to Erin for making things awkward between Erin and Jenna. And my first thought was, so was Erin actually telling the truth? And Brynn was lying about what was said regarding Jenna's finances? What exactly is Brynn apologizing for? To say that you're sorry for making things awkward between them implies to me that you willingly put extra sauce on the story to make Erin look bad. So now Erin says, yeah, I was really hurt because I felt like you were purposely trying to damage me and Jenna's friendship. So now Brynn jumps back in and she says, well, no offense, but I did not go to Jenna to talk about you. Actually, she asked me, did I forgive you after Jeff Lewis? And I said, yes, I did forgive you. And she was like, oh, really? Because what she said about you was so messed up. And I'm so surprised that you forgave her so quickly. So then she says that she shouldn't have said it to Jenna. And then she says that the reason why she did it was because she was embarrassed that she forgave Erin so quickly. So again, I'm scratching my head in confusion because I'm like, was this your way of getting revenge over something that Erin didn't even say? Brynn, if that's what it is, then you need some help. Because once again, Erin did not even say anything bad on the podcast. That was all Jeff Lewis. Erin stuck by your side and said, no, she's always had a job. But either way, I wasn't following. Did Erin say the part about Jenna having money issues, yes or no? Because now it's sounding to me like Brynn made it all up to make Erin look bad, to bust up their friendship because she was mad at Erin. And that was her way of getting her lick back. I don't know, y'all. Am I reading this wrong? Am I confusing myself? Am I confusing you? Let me know. So they move on from all that, and now Erin opens up about the stress that she's under due to her mom having breast cancer, and she gets emotional. She goes on to say that she's having a hard time right now, she's not in a stable place, and she's going through it. She feels like everybody needs her kids, Abe, and she's tired. So now Brynn makes a joke asking if she can help tend to Abe, and we do know that Brynn likes to flirt with Erin's husband. And Erin says, well, actually, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. And now we end the scene with Brynn opening up a bottle of Prosecco, and I said, now girl, that's a big step up from that tap water, but I'm gonna need you to also hit some Uber Eats or DoorDash and order some food. You've had this woman in your house for what, an hour now, berating her. She had to walk up 5 flights of steps. Get some food, please. Now this scene with Jenna going rock climbing with her son, it was a cute scene. I don't have a whole lot to say, but the best part for me was when they left rock climbing and we see Jenna's new Bentley get delivered. I said, girl, that's how you do it. I was here for all of it. Again, JennaLyons said, broke where? She said, I don't know her. Jenna heard those broke allegations and said, not me. Not me, girl.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
Now, Jenna, you had $200,000 or $217,000. Let me be exact because I wrote down the exact price when they flashed it on the screen, but you're not hurting for $1, so you can afford to pay Erin back the $250 if you feel inclined to, but at least treat her to the next dinner or the next lunch that you guys go to, okay? Now, hands down, this scene with Erin and Abe out on a lunch date, I was gagged. We finally get the truth about what exactly happened to cause a rift in their marriage. So as they're sitting down to eat, you can feel the tension between them. Abe looks nervous. So they're making small talk about Erin going over to Brynn's house the other day and them finally squashing their beef. So Erin says that she's relieved because it's just in time for her girls' trip in the Hamptons. She's inviting all the women to her Sag Harbor house in just a few days. And then she says that she's in this new phase of life where she just wants to have fun. And I said, Erin, I want that for you too, because I think that you are so tightly wound. I think that you worry too much about everything and everybody. And I want you to know that you can't worry. You have to let it go. Just relax. Let things flow. So now Erin brings up how she was angry at Abe at the beginning of this year. And Abe says, yeah, I know, but when I hide things from you, it's not coming from a malicious place. Now, immediately I'm thinking, okay, y'all better spill. What the F happened? What was he hiding from you? Another family? Another woman? Like what? Now, like I told you guys in the beginning, I immediately guessed it had to do with money, and I was right. So Erin says, well, finding out that you sold our Bitcoin when I wanted to use it for something else, and the fact that you did it without discussing it with me first, that really pissed me off. So now we cut to Erin's confessional, and she reveals that they had Bitcoin and it was really high at one point. And so she said, let me just check and see how much we have. So she said that she logged into the account, she was excited, and the next thing you know, it zeroed out. Abe pretty much wiped the accounts clean. So she was pissed because one, he did it without telling her, and then on top of that, she wanted to use that money to pay off the majority of their mortgage. So she's like, are you serious right now? So when I tell you guys, I was clutching my pearls. I said, wait, he did what? He cleaned the whole entire account out without telling you? Like, whoa. It's stuff like this that makes me say, you know what? I'm not really in a rush to get married. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hear horror stories of financial abuse and deceit. I feel like that's on the same level as infidelity because that's a betrayal as well. You went into one of our other accounts and wiped it clean without telling me? Like, whoa, that's definitely a grounds for divorce. Yo, when I tell you guys, I'm low-key a weakling. Probably why I'm not married now, because I'm like, yeah, I feel like after any little thing, I'd be like, okay, divorce. Shout out to everybody, I have fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody, I had fun.
I gotta be good.
I was not put on this earth to suffer. It was cute, we had a nice run. You go your way, I'm gonna go my way. Yeah, I would be livid. I felt really bad for Erin. I said, on top of her dealing with her mother's health issues, and now you find out that your husband wiped out one of your Bitcoin accounts and they had a lot of money in there. That's a mess. Now, to add insult to injury, Abe sold the Bitcoin years ago. So he didn't tell her any of this. She's just finding this out now. So on top of that, we find out that there was some other debt that Abe did not tell her about. So we find out from Erin that she used to own a handbag business and is no longer, but they had accrued a lot of debt from that. And Abe had told her that they had paid it all off, they were done. So she found out recently that they still had debt from that business. So he wasn't honest with her. Now, the way I would have a divorce attorney on retainer, this behavior is giving there could be money tied up in some secret investment that he did not tell anybody about, or he's involved in something sketchy. Do you have some other woman set up somewhere else? Did you buy a house for somebody? Like, now I'm thinking about all that. And Abe, I liked you a lot last season, and now I have to side-eye you because why would you do that? I don't even want to say what I would have done because there would have been some furniture thrown around had I found out that you went into our Bitcoin account, which has probably 6 figures, maybe 7 figures in it, and you wiped it out without telling me, we would have a serious issue. So you have Abe squirming in his seat and he says it becomes a pattern and he wasn't trying to hide things from her purposely, but he feels horrible. And I said, well, you only feel horrible because you got caught. The fact that you didn't think to be honest with your wife for all this time, she had to go into your account to find out the truth. That says a lot, Abe. But Erin lets him know that if this ever happens again, there's going to be a problem. But Erin reveals that they didn't know each other that well before they got married. So now she jokes around saying that she actually was not trying to get married that young. She was flying around. And so Abe says, yeah, I know. So now we find out that Miss Erin was out in these streets getting flown out on private jets, but she insists that she was not sleeping with any of those men. So because Erin was zipping it and zooing it with all these wealthy men, Abe felt insecure when they got together. So he goes on to say that there's this added pressure to give Erin the standard of living that she's accustomed to. So now he gives us this long song and dance about how with the pressure, he does work his ass off, and because of that, he can make mistakes from time to time. Now, Abe, I don't really want to hear this sob story of how you feel all this pressure to provide your wife this amazing life. You knew what it was when you met Erin. You saw that she came from an affluent family. She was getting flown out on private jets when you guys met. If you couldn't keep up with that, then you should have moved on to somebody else who didn't demand that much. But you wanted Erin, and we all know how men do. They will sell you dreams. So I can only imagine what you told Erin when you met her. You probably said, oh yeah, baby, I can put you up. I can do this for you. I can do that for you. I'm sure you did it. And you going behind her back and wiping out accounts, that's not the way to go. For all my married subscribers, let me know. I want to hear from the experts. Is that not a massive betrayal? If your spouse did that to you, would you not consider divorce? Let me know. I want to hear all your thoughts. But Erin lets Abe know that as long as he continues to prove himself, they'll be okay. And I said, once again, Abe, this is your first and last warning that this better not happen again. So now we see a short scene with Ubah and Sai. They're doing some shopping for the girls' trip in the Hamptons. Now, Ubah, I love this outfit on you. You looked beautiful. But Miss Mama's this confessional look. What in the Whitney Houston, and God rest her soul, you guys know I love Whitney, down. But baby, what was that wig on top of your head? Ubah, why? That short blonde wig, I said, girl, what? And y'all had me screaming on Twitter because you guys also clocked Sai's wig. One of y'all said, now, why is Sai wearing Mama Joyce's wig? Now, that wig that Sai had on in this scene, it reminded me more of Sheila's wig. Sheila, Ashley Darby's mom on Potomac, it was giving more of Sheila. But they're catching up, talking. Ubah says that she's currently living in a hotel right now because there was some water damage in her apartment. Then she says that things are going well with her and her boyfriend Oliver, and how Oliver actually turned down a job recently because he wants to stay close to her. So now Sai brings up how Ubah doesn't seem like her happy-go-lucky self, and Ubah says that it's because of people in this group twisting other people's words. And we clearly know that she's talking about Brynn. And then Ubah goes on to say that she really liked Brynn. They were super close at one point, but she was upset when Brynn outed her boyfriend, Mr. Connecticut, last season. Because we know that when Ubah and her man started dating, Ubah told Sai to be quiet about it, don't tell anybody. And of course, Sai opened her mouth, told Brynn, and then Brynn put it on blast. And that's why all that drama went down in the season finale. But Ubah goes on to say that Brynn is not loyal, and because of that, she's taken 10 steps back. So now they bring up the girls' trip to the Hamptons, and Sai says, I don't want to take the helicopter there, I want to drive. So now Ubah says, yeah, I don't want to take the helicopter either. I plan on driving as well. I want to be in my own car, taking calls, so I'm going to pass on the helicopter. Now, for all my non-New Yorkers, from the city to the Hamptons, it's a 2.5-hour drive. If there's no traffic whatsoever, you could get there in an hour and a half. Helicopter, it's only 45 minutes, but it's not a bad drive at all. So there's really no reason to take a helicopter to the Hamptons, but if you have it like that, feel free. But because they both don't want to be in the helicopter, they both decide that they're going to ride together and Sai is going to drive. Honestly and truthfully, helicopters freak me out. So I would be right in that car on the Long Island Expressway. I love luxury. I love a cool experience. But there are certain things, no thank you. I'll be right there in the car and I'll see you guys in 2 hours. So anyhow, we get to the last scene of the episode, and it's the day of the girls' trip to the Hamptons. And of course, we see Brynn, Jessel, and Rebecca Minkoff meeting up because they're all flying. And before they get on the helicopter, they're waiting around to see who else is going to be joining them. So Brynn brings up how Ubah declined, she's going to be driving, and now Jessel says, oh, and by the way, Sai's going to be driving too because she'd said in the group chat that it's cloudy, she's not flying. So of course Brynn is being snarky and she says, really? Is Sai a meteorologist now? Because she's not. And I said, Brynn, I don't know why you're so bothered about Sai and Ubah not wanting to get on the helicopter. One, you guys aren't really getting along like that. And two, some people are afraid of helicopters and that's a legit reason. So now Brynn says, well, I get it because Sai doesn't want to be around me, but honestly, I just want to have fun this weekend and get drunk. So now Rebecca jumps in and she's like, well, weren't you guys close? And Brynn says, yeah, we were, but she's always screaming at me in public. And this is Manhattan, not Rikers Island. So they all laugh, and now we see Jessel on the phone with Jenna, and they're all like, Jenna, where are you? We're waiting on you. And Jenna's like, oh, girl, didn't I tell you I'm not going to be going with you guys? I'm going to drive. Now, I understand that. Jenna just bought a brand new Bentley, and I'd want to drive my brand new Bentley to the Hamptons as well. Jenna also reveals that Raquel is going to drive too. And Brynn was like, oh, I forgot all about Raquel. And I said, girl, I did too. So it's going to be the three of them on the helicopter. They get on it. And Brynn, you know how noisy helicopters are. So you can't really even have that great of a conversation with all that noise. I don't know what possessed you to bring up Rebecca Minkoff being a Scientologist. And the way Brynn did it too, I just said, really, Brynn? You picked this time to bring that up? It really felt like a producer told you to do that. So anyhow, Brynn's like, oh, Rebecca, I have to ask you something. What should we say to the press if somebody asks us about you being in Scientology? Rebecca was just like, girl, are you serious? She was too stunned to speak. So Rebecca says, if they do ask you, just say no comment. And now Brynn reveals that there have been all these articles about Rebecca Minkoff in Scientology this past weekend. So Rebecca goes on to say that she's not uncomfortable about talking about it. She doesn't mind talking about it. And she's saying this all while not talking about it. And I said, Rebecca, we're not stupid. It's very obvious that you do not want to speak about it at all. And from what I've heard from several sources, you pretty much told producers, do not let anybody bring this up. So for you to say, well, I don't care, I don't mind talking about it, that's not true. And you were visibly uncomfortable on that helicopter when Brynn brought it up. You looked like a deer in headlights. And if I'm being honest, I don't think that joining a reality show was the best move for you. And now Rebecca says to Jessel and Brynn that it's a world-recognized religion and it's not a secret and it's not weird. Brynn was not here for the answers whatsoever. She says this response is giving very much Chat GPT. And I said, now, Brynn, let's just stop for a minute, because what kind of answer were you expecting? Did you honestly expect for Rebecca Minkoff to give you the ins and outs of Scientology? But we cut to everybody else's confessionals, and Ubah's like, look, I don't have anything to say about Scientology. I don't know anything about it. Then we cut to Erin, who is about to spill some tea about John Travolta, but we don't get anything from her. And then we cut to Jenna saying that it's like every other religion where you have extreme people in it, and it's not a fair assessment to make. And then a producer goes on to ask if she'd be interested in looking into Scientology. And she says, look, my religion is puppies and ice cream, that's it. Now we cut to Brynn's confessional, and she says that she knows that it's not the time or the place for this conversation, but she honestly feels like she's talking to a salesman who's trying to sell her snake oil. I said, girl, now you want to sit up here and shade her after you asked her this messy ass question, knowing that she wouldn't give you any tea in the first place. Now she's reminding you of a door-to-door salesman. But she goes on to say that overall it's weird. And that's where the episode ends. It was a cute episode. It was solid. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It was all right. But I hope that things pick up, because again, New York, you guys have OC, which is killing it. SLC, which has been great. Potomac had a very strong return. Y'all better do your big one, because if you don't, there might not be any more reviews, okay? But again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening on the podcast. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.